The massive arena buzzed with thousands of alien voices as beings from across the galaxy gathered for the biggest show in centuries. Deep in the shadows of the towering crystalline walls, a young human boy named Tyler pressed himself against the cold metal surface. At just 12 years old, he had learned to become invisible among the giants who ruled this empire. Tyler worked as a cleaner in the Imperial Palace, scrubbing floors that alien nobles walked on without ever noticing him. Humans were still new to this galactic community, treated more like smart animals than equals. Most aliens thought humans were too emotional, too unpredictable to be trusted with important things. But today was different. Today, everyone had come to watch something that hadn't happened in over 300 years. In the center of the massive arena, wrapped in glowing energy chains that hummed with deadly power, lay the most magnificent creature Tyler had ever seen. The star dragon was enormous, easily the size of a small building. Its scales caught the light from 3 different suns streaming through the arena's crystal dome, creating patterns that seemed to shift and dance like living rainbows. This was Draconis, the last of his kind. The star dragons had once been the rulers of entire solar systems, beings of incredible power and ancient wisdom. But one by one, they had all been captured or killed by the expanding Volturian Empire. Now only this one remained, and today he would die. Emperor Zareth stood on his golden platform high above the arena floor, holding a ceremonial blade that crackled with enough energy to cut through dragon scales. The weapon had been specially designed for this moment, passed down through generations of emperors who had dreamed of this day. The crowd roared its approval. Aliens of every shape and size cheered for the death of the last dragon. To them, this execution represented the final victory of civilization over the wild, untamed forces of the old universe. With the dragons gone, nothing could challenge their perfect order. Tyler watched from his hiding spot and felt sick to his stomach. Everyone around him was celebrating, but all he could see was a prisoner about to die. The dragon wasn't roaring or breathing fire like in the old stories humans told. Instead, he lay very still, his massive head resting on the arena floor. But it was the dragon's eyes that made Tyler's heart ache. Those ancient golden eyes weren't filled with the rage or hatred everyone expected. Instead, Tyler saw something that reminded him of looking in a mirror on the worst days of his life. He saw loneliness, sadness, and the quiet acceptance of someone who had given up hope. Tyler knew that feeling well. When his parents died in a transport accident 3 years ago, he had felt that same empty hopelessness. He had been passed from one foster system to another across different worlds until he finally ended up here, working for aliens who barely remembered he existed. The Emperor raised the glowing blade higher, and the crowd's cheers grew louder. Holographic cameras floated around the arena, broadcasting this historic moment to billions of beings across the galaxy. This wasn't just an execution, it was a statement. The old ways were dead and the Empire ruled everything now. But as Tyler watched, something strange happened. The dragon slowly lifted his massive head and looked directly at him. Not at the Emperor, not at the cheering crowds, but at one small human boy hidden in the shadows. For just a moment, their eyes met across the vast arena. In that instant, Tyler felt something he had never experienced before. It wasn't quite hearing words, but somehow he understood what the dragon was trying to say. The great creature wasn't angry or afraid. He was just tired, so very tired of being alone. The Emperor began his speech about the glory of the Empire and the end of the Age of Dragons, but Tyler wasn't listening anymore. His feet were already moving before his brain caught up with what he was doing. He slipped past the first row of guards, then the second. His small size and years of staying invisible served him well. By the time anyone noticed the human child walking across the arena floor, Tyler was already halfway to the dragon. Shouts erupted from the crowd. Guards reached for their weapons. The Emperor himself stopped mid-sentence, staring in disbelief. But Tyler kept walking, his heart pounding so hard he could hear it over the chaos around him. He had no plan, no idea what he was going to do when he reached the dragon. All he knew was that he couldn't watch another lonely being die without at least trying to do something about it. As he got closer, the dragon's ancient eyes never left his face, and Tyler realized he was about to change everything. Tyler's bare feet made soft sounds against the cold arena floor as he walked toward the massive dragon. Behind him, thousands of aliens were shouting, but their voices seemed to fade away like distant thunder. All he could hear was his own heartbeat and the gentle hum of the energy chains holding Draconis prisoner. The guards were confused, unsure whether to shoot a human child or wait for orders. Emperor Zareth held up his hand, stopping them. He was curious now, wondering what this small creature thought it could accomplish. In 3 centuries, no being in the galaxy had successfully communicated with a star dragon. The greatest minds, the most powerful telepaths, the most skilled beast tamers had all failed. Tyler stopped just beyond the dragon's reach and did something that shocked everyone watching. He sat down on the cold stone floor, cross-legged like he was getting ready for story time back in the human colony where he grew up. "Hi there," Tyler said quietly, looking up at the enormous creature. "I'm Tyler. I know you probably can't understand me, but I wanted to sit with you for a bit. Nobody should have to be alone when they're scared." The dragon's massive head, easily twice as big as Tyler's entire body, slowly lowered until it rested on the arena floor just a few feet away. Up close, Tyler could see that each of the dragon's scales was like a perfect mirror, reflecting not just light but somehow capturing the essence of starlight itself. What happened next made the entire galaxy hold its breath. A voice spoke in Tyler's mind, ancient and deep like the sound of distant galaxies spinning through space. It didn't hurt or feel strange like Tyler expected. Instead, it felt warm and gentle, like having a conversation with the wisest grandfather in the universe. "Little one," the voice said, "in all my long years, you are the first to offer friendship instead of chains." Tyler's eyes widened, but he wasn't afraid. Somehow this felt right, like puzzle pieces finally clicking into place. "You can talk. I can hear you thinking." "That's amazing. What is your name, brave child?" Draconis asked, and Tyler could hear something like a smile in the mental voice. "Tyler Chin. What's yours?" I know they call you Draconis, but is that what you want to be called?" The dragon's golden eyes blinked slowly, and Tyler felt waves of surprise and something else, something that felt like gratitude. "You ask what I wish to be called, not what I am called. No one has cared about my preferences in centuries. Yes, I am Draconis, last speaker for the Star Dragons. But you may call me whatever feels right to you." Around them, the arena had fallen completely silent. Even Emperor Zareth was leaning forward on his platform, trying to understand what was happening. The holographic cameras zoomed in, broadcasting this impossible scene to billions of viewers across the galaxy. Tyler shifted closer, no longer caring about the energy chains or the thousands of watching eyes. "Why are you so sad?" Besides the obvious stuff about being chained up and everything." Draconis made a sound that might have been laughter, but there was no joy in it. "You see much for one so young." "I'm sad because I am alone, Tyler Chin. My kind once filled the skies of 100 worlds. We were teachers, keepers of knowledge, guardians of wisdom gathered from civilizations that existed before your son was born. What happened to them?" Tyler asked, though part of him already suspected the answer wouldn't be good. "We were betrayed," Draconis replied, and now his mental voice carried the weight of centuries of grief. "Someone we trusted sold our locations to the Empire. Our hidden sanctuaries were raided, our eggs destroyed, our young captured and killed. I have been alone for longer than your species has known space travel." Tyler felt tears running down his cheeks. He had thought he understood loneliness, but this was something far worse than anything he had experienced. "I'm sorry. That's horrible. Nobody deserves that." "You understand?" Draconis said with wonder. "You truly understand. Your species is remarkable, young Tyler. In you burns something we dragons have not seen in many ages." "What's that?" Tyler asked, wiping his eyes. "Hope," the dragon replied. "The courage to believe that things can be better, even when everything seems lost. The other species of the galaxy have forgotten how to hope for real change. They accept the way things are and call it wisdom. But humans still believe in the impossible." Emperor Zareth had heard enough. This connection between boy and dragon was dangerous, unpredictable. He stepped forward, his voice booming across the arena through amplifiers. "Enough," he shouted. "Guards, remove the human child. Continue with the execution." But as the guards moved forward, something incredible happened. Draconis raised his massive head and let out a sound that wasn't quite a roar and wasn't quite a song. Every being in the arena felt it in their bones, a vibration that spoke of power older than empires and deeper than space itself. The guards stopped in their tracks, suddenly afraid. Tyler stood up, no longer just a scared kid but someone who had found his purpose. He looked up at the Emperor and spoke with a voice that carried across the silent arena. "No," he said simply. "You're not killing my friend." Emperor Zareth stared down at the small human boy who had just defied him in front of the entire galaxy. His golden eyes, cold as the space between stars, calculated rapidly. This unexpected connection between the child and the dragon was dangerous, but it was also the most valuable thing that had happened in his empire for centuries. "Fascinating," the Emperor said, his voice echoing through the now silent arena. "In 300 years, no being has successfully communicated with a star dragon. Yet this human child manages it within minutes. He paused, studying Tyler and Draconis with the intense focus of a predator. Very well, boy. I will spare the dragon's life, but only under one condition. Tyler felt his heart racing. He had expected to be thrown in prison or worse. What condition? You have 30 days to prove you can truly control this beast. If you succeed, both of you will serve the Empire. If you fail, you will both face execution together. The Emperor's smile was sharp and cruel. Consider it a test of your remarkable abilities. Before Tyler could respond, guards surrounded him and Draconis. The dragon was loaded onto a massive hover transport, still wrapped in energy chains, while Tyler was escorted to what looked like the fanciest prison cell in the galaxy. His new quarters had silk curtains, golden furniture, and a view of 3 different moons, but the door locked from the outside. That evening, as Tyler sat by the window staring at the stars, his door chimed. A tall woman in a military uniform stepped inside. She had dark skin and intelligent brown eyes that seemed to see everything at once. Unlike the aliens Tyler had grown used to, she was human. "Hello, Tyler," she said, closing the door behind her. "My name is General Keisha Rivers. I'm one of the few humans who've managed to climb the ranks in this empire, and I need to tell you something important." Tyler looked up at her with hope. Finally, another human who might understand. "Are you here to help me?" General Rivers sat down across from him, her expression serious. "I'm here to warn you. The Emperor doesn't want you to tame Draconis, Tyler. He wants you to turn him into a weapon. And when he's gotten what he needs from both of you, you'll disappear just like every other inconvenient person in this empire." The words hit Tyler like a punch to the stomach. "But he said if I could control Draconis, we'd both live." "Control isn't the same as partnership," General Rivers explained. "The Emperor has been searching for a way to use Star Dragon power for his military. With you as a translator, he could force Draconis to locate the remaining dragons, then capture or kill them all. You'd be helping him commit genocide." Tyler felt sick. Through his growing mental connection with Draconis, he could sense the dragon's distress even from the holding facility where they kept him locked up. "There are more dragons alive?" "According to our intelligence, yes. Hidden somewhere in the outer systems. But they've stayed hidden for good reason." General Rivers leaned forward. "Tyler, I need you to understand something. What you did in that arena today, connecting with Draconis like that, it's not just special, it's revolutionary. No other species has been able to form genuine partnerships with the Star Dragons because they all approach it wrong." "What do you mean?" "Every other species tries to dominate, to be the master. They use fear, force, or manipulation. But you just sat down and talked to him like an equal. You offered friendship." General Rivers smiled for the first time since entering the room. "That's very human of you, and it's exactly what the galaxy needs right now." Over the next few days, Tyler was allowed to visit Draconis under heavy guard. While the alien supervisors watched, Tyler pretended to be learning how to command the dragon. But in reality, the two friends were sharing much deeper conversations through their mental link. Draconis told Tyler the real story of what had happened to the Star Dragons. They hadn't been conquered in some great war like the history books claimed. Instead, they had been betrayed by someone they trusted completely, someone who had learned their secret locations and sold that information to the Empire for personal gain. "The betrayer still lives," Draconis revealed during one of their sessions. "They hold a position of power within the Empire itself. Every hiding place my surviving brothers and sisters choose, every safe haven they create, gets reported back to your Emperor. We cannot run forever." Tyler felt anger building in his chest, hotter than dragon fire. "That's horrible. How can someone do that to people who trusted them? Power corrupts even the noblest hearts sometimes, young friend. But there is something else you must know. The remaining 7 dragons are not just hiding for their own survival. They guard something precious." "What kind of something?" Draconis' mental voice grew heavy with the weight of ancient responsibility. "The collected knowledge of 47 civilizations that came before yours. Art, science, philosophy, technology, the wisdom of species that reached the stars when this galaxy was young. If the Empire captures this knowledge, they will become unstoppable. No force in the universe could stand against them." Tyler realized the true scope of what was happening. This wasn't just about saving one dragon or even 7 dragons. This was about preventing an empire from becoming so powerful that they could crush every free thought in the galaxy. "We have to stop them," Tyler said, his young voice filled with determination that surprised even himself. "How?" Draconis asked. "I am chained, you are watched constantly. The might of an entire empire stands against us. Tyler looked out at the stars through the window of the facility where they met. Somewhere out there, 7 ancient beings were hiding, protecting the legacy of civilizations that had dreamed of a better future. Just like humans did. I don't know yet, Tyler admitted. But humans are really good at figuring out impossible things. Give me time to think. 3 weeks had passed since Tyler first spoke with Draconis, and today was the day that would change everything. The Grand Colosseum was packed with even more beings than before, all eager to see if the human boy had truly tamed the last star dragon. Holographic cameras floated everywhere, broadcasting to billions of viewers across the galaxy. Tyler walked into the massive arena beside Draconis, who had been freed from his energy chains as a show of the boy's supposed control over the ancient creature. The dragon's scales caught the light beautifully, but Tyler could feel the tension radiating from his friend through their mental connection. Emperor Zareth sat in his royal box high above, surrounded by his most trusted advisors. He was practically glowing with anticipation. Finally, he would have his weapon, his key to finding and destroying the remaining star dragons once and for all. Citizens of the Empire, the Emperor's voice boomed across the Colosseum, today you will witness the final victory of civilization over chaos. Behold, the tamed star dragon. Tyler took a deep breath and began the performance they had planned. He raised his hand, and Draconis launched into the air with a graceful leap that took him soaring around the arena's upper levels. To everyone watching, it looked like the boy was commanding the dragon through simple gestures. Draconis performed a series of aerial maneuvers that left the crowd gasping in amazement. He dove and climbed, spun and glided, creating patterns in the air that were both beautiful and terrifying. The Emperor leaned forward in his seat, his eyes gleaming with satisfaction. But Tyler and Draconis were communicating through their mental link, finalizing the details of their desperate plan. Are you sure about this, young friend? Draconis asked as he completed another loop around the arena. Once we do this, there will be no going back. They will hunt us across the galaxy. I'm sure, Tyler replied silently. We can't let them use us to hurt your family. Besides, someone once told me that humans are good at believing in impossible things. Tyler could feel Draconis' amusement even as the dragon maintained his graceful flight. Very well. But I want you to know, Tyler Chin, that in all my centuries of life, I have never had a friend as brave as you. Same here, buddy. Now let's give them a show they'll never forget. Tyler caught Draconis' eye and gave the slightest nod. It was time. Suddenly, without warning, Draconis let out a roar that shook the entire Colosseum. But this wasn't the controlled display they had been performing. This was raw, wild, and filled with ancient fury. The dragon's eyes blazed with golden fire as he turned toward Tyler with what appeared to be murderous rage. The crowd screamed in terror. Guards raised their weapons, but they were too far away to help. Emperor Zareth leaped to his feet, shouting orders that no one could hear over the chaos. Draconis dove toward Tyler like a falling star, his massive jaws opening wide. To everyone watching, it looked like the dragon was about to devour the boy who had tried to tame him. Tyler stood perfectly still, appearing frozen with fear, as those enormous jaws closed around him completely. Then Draconis launched himself into the sky and disappeared through the Colosseum's open roof, apparently carrying Tyler's lifeless body away with him. The crowd erupted in panic and outrage. The Emperor was screaming at his guards, demanding they pursue the dragon immediately. News reports flashed across the galaxy within minutes. Human boy killed by untamed dragon. Star dragon escapes after brutal attack. Emperor's plan fails catastrophically. But hidden safely within a special chamber that Draconis had created inside his mouth using ancient dragon abilities, Tyler was very much alive and grinning widely. Phase 1 of their plan was complete. They flew for 3 days straight, traveling to the outer rim of the galaxy where few ships ever ventured. Draconis navigated by instincts older than human civilization, following paths through space that only star dragons knew existed. Finally, they arrived at what looked like an empty patch of space, but as they drew closer, Tyler gasped in amazement. A small moon materialized before them, hidden by technology so advanced it made the Empire's best science look primitive. Welcome to Haven, Draconis said as they descended toward the hidden sanctuary. The last refuge of the star dragons. As they landed, Tyler saw them, 7 magnificent creatures emerging from crystal caves that dotted the moon's surface. Each dragon was unique, their scales reflecting different colors of starlight. But what took Tyler's breath away was the human woman who walked out to greet them. She appeared to be in her 20s, with short brown hair and kind eyes that reminded Tyler of his mother. She wore simple clothes that looked like they had been made from some kind of advanced fabric that shifted colors with the light. "Hello, Tyler," she said, smiling warmly. "My name is Jordan Martinez. I've been waiting a long time to meet you." Tyler stared at her in shock. "You're human? How did you get here? I thought I was the only one who could talk to dragons." Jordan laughed, and the sound was filled with joy and relief. "You're not the only one, Tyler. I've been here for 5 years, ever since Araxis rescued me from a prison transport. It turns out humans have a very special gift that no other species in the galaxy possesses." "What gift?" Tyler asked, though he was beginning to suspect the answer. "The ability to form true partnerships based on respect and equality," Jordan explained. "Every other species tries to dominate or control. But humans, we naturally treat others as friends first. That's why the dragons have been waiting for us." Araxis, a golden dragon even larger than Draconis, lowered his great head and spoke directly into Tyler's mind. "Welcome, young warrior. You have done well to escape the Empire's trap. Now, let us show you why your arrival here will change the fate of the galaxy forever." As they walked toward the crystal caves, Tyler realized that being dead was just the beginning of his real adventure. Tyler followed Jordan and the magnificent dragons deeper into the crystal caves of Haven, his eyes growing wider with each step. The walls around them weren't just decorated, they were alive with swirling patterns of light that seemed to tell stories without words. Ancient symbols from dozens of different civilizations covered every surface, glowing softly in colors Tyler had never seen before. "This is incredible," Tyler whispered, running his fingers along a section of wall that showed what looked like star maps from 1,000 different worlds. "What is all this?" Araxis, the golden dragon who seemed to be the leader of the group, settled his massive form near Tyler and began to explain. "Young human, what you see here is the collected wisdom of 47 civilizations that came before yours. Art, science, philosophy, technology, the dreams and discoveries of species that reached the stars when your sun was barely formed." Jordan walked over to a crystal formation that began glowing at her touch. Images appeared in the air around them, showing beautiful cities on distant worlds, beings of every shape and size working together, and technologies that seemed like pure magic. "The dragons weren't just powerful creatures," Jordan explained. "They were librarians, Tyler. Guardians of knowledge. Whenever a civilization was about to be destroyed by war, disaster, or their own mistakes, the dragons would save what they could. They've been doing this for millions of years." Tyler stared at the floating images, trying to process what he was seeing. But why hide it? This knowledge could help everyone in the galaxy. Draconis, who had been quietly resting nearby, lifted his great head. "Because power corrupts, young friend. We tried sharing our knowledge freely once long ago. The result was catastrophic. Species used what we taught them to build better weapons, to conquer their neighbors more efficiently. The dragons made a difficult decision, to wait until we found a species that could be trusted with such responsibility." "And you think humans are that species?" Tyler asked. "Not think," said Vexera, a silver dragon whose scales seemed to reflect the light of distant galaxies. "We know. Your species has something that all others have lost over time." "What's that?" Jordan smiled and sat down beside Tyler on the crystal floor. "The ability to dream of a better tomorrow, even when everything seems hopeless. Most species, when they become advanced enough for space travel, start believing that the way things are is the way things should be. They stop hoping for real change. But humans," continued Zephyr, a dragon whose purple scales reminded Tyler of nebulas he'd seen in astronomy books, "humans never stop believing that impossible things can become possible. You call it many things: hope, determination, stubbornness. But it's what the universe needs most right now." Tyler thought about this for a moment. "So what's the plan? We can't hide here forever, and the Emperor is probably looking for us right now." Araxis's mental voice filled Tyler's mind, warm and ancient and wise. "The plan, brave Tyler, is to do something that hasn't been attempted in over 3 centuries. We're going to reveal ourselves to the galaxy, all of us at the same time." "That sounds dangerous," Tyler said. "Very dangerous," Jordan agreed. "But staying hidden isn't working anymore. The Emperor's forces are getting closer to finding us, and the traitor in his court keeps feeding him information about our movements. It's time to take a stand." Over the next month, Tyler learned more than he had in his entire life. The dragons taught him about the history of the galaxy, about civilizations that had risen and fallen, about the mistakes that had led to the current Empire's dominance. But they also taught him about hope, about the power of beings working together instead of trying to control each other. Jordan showed him how to use some of the ancient technologies stored in the caves, devices that could communicate across vast distances instantly, tools that could heal injuries in seconds, and most importantly, a broadcasting system that could reach every inhabited world in the galaxy simultaneously. Finally, the day came when they were ready to reveal themselves to the universe. Tyler stood in the main chamber of the Crystal Caves, surrounded by all 8 star dragons and Jordan. In his hands, he held a communication device that would broadcast their message to trillions of beings across hundreds of worlds. "Are you ready for this?" Jordan asked, her hand resting supportively on Tyler's shoulder. Tyler nodded, thinking about all the lonely people in the galaxy who had given up hope, all the beings who thought things could never change. "Yeah, let's show them what humans and dragons can do together." He activated the device, and suddenly every screen, every communication channel, every holographic display in the galaxy showed the same image. Tyler Chin, a 12-year-old human boy, standing confidently beside 8 magnificent star dragons. "People of the galaxy," Tyler began, his young voice somehow carrying the authority of ancient wisdom, "my name is Tyler, and I'm here with some friends who have a message for all of you. For too long, you've been told that the strong must rule the weak, that different species can't work together, that the way things are now is the only way they can be." Behind him, the dragons spread their wings, creating a display of beauty and power that took the breath away from everyone watching. "But that's not true," Tyler continued. "We're here to prove that friendship is stronger than fear, that cooperation beats conquest every time, and that when different people work together with respect and trust, incredible things become possible." Across the galaxy, beings stopped what they were doing to watch. In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Zareth stared at the screen in rage and disbelief. In homes and workplaces on 1,000 different worlds, ordinary people began to hope for the first time in generations. Tyler smiled at the camera, and his next words would be remembered for centuries to come. "The age of empires is over. Welcome to the age of partnership."